Microfinance, when it started, non-governmental organizations were at the forefront of the delivery of microfinance. These NGOs typically were into multiple services, and financial services were actually a new domain for them to get into. A lot of effort went into getting NGOs to become good at the delivery of financial services such as microfinance. In fact, I clearly remember that in India, NGOs were asked to shed every other development program that they were doing in favor of microfinance, because somewhere it was felt that microfinance required a special, different kind of dispensation with a lot of financial focus on the focus on delivery and recovery of credit that had been given out to clients. Over a period of time, NGOs became good at microfinance, and a lot of them were transformed or helped to transform into for-profit financial service providers. This led to a wave of NGO-led microfinance institutions which had transformed to access financial capital, equity from private equity players at times local financial institutions. The growth of microfinance, the desire to look at financial profits and outreach indicators as a measure of success, led to the unfortunate situation in India especially, where we saw that in one state the state government intervened and had to close down a number of well-functioning microfinance institutions. All this brought the wheel almost full circle, with a lot of emphasis being placed on double bottom line microfinance institutions, on social indicators, on social performance management, and the entire desire to be doing something above and beyond just delivery of credit. To that extent, I think this is the environment and day we live in, where microfinance institutions are being asked about their social credentials, their social outreach mission, and so on. I think the learning from the last more than a decade in microfinance has been that the client focus shouldn't have been lost in the first place, but anyway needs to be brought back. I think clients became just numbers in the microfinance game in this quest for growth, and it's great that that client focus seems to be coming back in a lot of geographies. The client focus is driven not only by external players and donors, but it is also driven by the need for long-term sustainability of the microfinance institutions themselves. The client focus is also reflected in areas such as product development. In a country as vast as India, other than 5-member group lending microfinance, for more than a decade, we did not see another product worth its name. Today, there is a lot of innovation going on because MFIs are talking about micro enterprise loans. And I think the entire competition, the entire thrust around social performance management, the regulatory pressures around the bottom line have all come together to a situation where innovation is imperative and is being brought about by a variety of factors. There is this whole move towards technology in microfinance that has also been responsible for product innovation and for innovation in delivery channels. Technology has enabled a greater client connect to happen, control systems to emerge in the delivery of financial services, and technology in the days to come will enable a greater outreach into rural areas, into remote areas that microfinance was not able to do in the yesteryears. I think all of this has also underlined the point that microfinance is not a panacea. I think in the last few years we sold microfinance as something that could fix any problem that needed a solution in the development field. I think there is greater realism today that microfinance can only do so much and no more. The other thing that has happened is social performance has, I think, got ingrained into microfinance delivery. And that again used to hang out like a sore appendage till a few years back. There is greater acceptance amongst MFI CEOs that there is no escaping from social performance measurement and management. And that, till even about 3 years ago, used to be a strong donor push that used to drive the social performance agenda. I think overall, the future for microfinance remains very bright. There is a whole range of financial services that can be delivered to low-income people. Microcredit had taken away, in some senses, this focus from any other form of financial services delivery, at least in India. Today we talk about savings delivery through the branchless banking channel with microfinance institutions acting as agents of banks. We talk about domestic remittances. We talk about microinsurance, way above and beyond the kind of microinsurance that we saw where it was bundled with credit. We talk about non-life insurance, health insurance, for example. And I think this just shows the scope and scale of microfinance, that there is this whole outreach issue which is horizontal, but there is an entire outreach issue which is vertical and which calls for a larger number of products out there for meeting a variety of needs. Microenterprise is another area which lies in a cusp where it is neither serviced by banks nor by microfinance institutions. It presents a huge opportunity for MFIs to be entering this space. Similarly, for value chain finance, agri-finance has traditionally not been a forte of microfinance institutions, and I think as the sector grows, as the sector matures, a lot more emphasis can be made in areas such as agri-value chain finance. Non-financial services is another area where MFIs have increased focus. Microfinance institutions are looking at models for financial literacy. How can the client be educated on what is best for him or her? How can the client be educated on the benefits of savings? How can the clients be educated in areas such as over-indebtedness? I think this is a welcome move, long expected from the industry. Again, technology can play a huge role in enabling all of this because the access to the client through mobile phones, through well-structured videos, makes it possible to reach out to the client in a language in which they can understand what is being communicated. So in a sense, sustainability of microfinance institution rests on human resources, well-trained, well-positioned, well-intended human resources at the front end which understand the client and which are able to communicate effectively with the client. Products and processes in the financial services sector cannot be overemphasized. Process compliance, control systems, adequate control systems are equally important for sustainable microfinance. And then of course the whole issue around technology. How do we integrate technology into microfinance? Recently, while talking to a CEO of a microfinance institution, he was very clear that if in 5 years' time we are not able to integrate technology into our operations, we will become extinct. I completely agree with that assessment. The only point of disagreement perhaps is that instead of 5 years, I think the time phrase is more like 2 to 3 years. In 2 to 3 years' time, microfinance organization will have to integrate technology at the front end and at the back end if they are to continue on this journey towards sustainability. On sustainability, as far as the message to regulators and to donors goes, I would just say that please refrain from knee-jerk reactions. Too often we see that regulators do not pay adequate attention to the sector, and then once the first crisis happens, there is a knee-jerk reaction which basically devastates the sector. So a small problem that could have been locally addressed snowballs into a national level issue. Similarly for donors, I think the microfinance agenda has not been addressed till date. The microcredit agenda perhaps might have been, but even there, product proliferation never happened. And donors can support the development and rollout of newer products, of more client-centric products. In this rush towards mobile banking, the basic financial services of the low-income segment cannot be forgotten. Microfinance agenda cannot be left to happen on its own. It will need support from regulators and from donors.